Hello everybody, Tyron the Guy 3 here. Welcome back to Pokemon XY&Z anime reviews. Today we'll be doing the review of episodes 37 and 38. Episode 37 is titled The Finals, Ash vs. Elan, and episode 38 is titled Kalos League Victory, Ash's Ultimate Match. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys want me to address the giant elephant in the room, which is Ash's defeat, which, spoilers, Ash loses. I'm going to go ahead and say that now. It's been a while. Not just the episode has been released already, but tons of people have already made their reactions to it. They've made reviews. Some people have just made rant videos and things like that. A lot of people probably want me to go ahead and just address the big elephant in the room, which is Ash's defeat against Elan and the big Kalos League. I will touch on it in this review, however I won't make it the focus, only because one, I want to go ahead and do the review of the episode as if we didn't know who Ash was prior to XY and XY&Z, and in a way I want to review the battle. Because the battle is the primary focus between episodes 37 and 38, and it would be really unfair to diss an entire battle that was really well animated, used really well music, the choreography was really great, and everything, only because of a certain event that happens within the last few minutes of the episode. It's really a shame to put two episodes under the bus like that completely, only because we know the ending result of it. I feel it's unfair. It's unfair not just to XY, but XY&Z, the whole series as a whole, just because of some one part that we don't essentially agree with. It is a part of this episode that is really important because it's not just the episode itself that gets affected by it. It's the whole series. It's us as the fans. However, I do want to just go ahead and focus primarily on the battle itself and the events that happen after the battle, since they are important as well. I still do the reviews of the Pokemon series and not just Ash Ketchum as a character, although he is important essentially because he is the main character. So, without further ado, let's get down to business. The episode starts right into the battle. We get right into it. And Ash and Elan start off their bout with Tyranitar on Elan's side versus Pikachu. And it's a really good battle, and Pikachu is showing some really cool moves. Like, my favorite part of this one was when Tyranitar used Stone Edge, and Pikachu ends up knocking the Stone Edges away by using Iron Tail in a spinning formation to knock the Stone Edges back. It's really cool. Pikachu was really kick-ass, not just in this fight, but another fight that I'm going to talk about in this episode. The next part of the battle, Pikachu comes back and Ash ends up using Noivern, while Elan ends up using Weavile. Noivern and Weavile fight for a while, and it's cool that Noivern actually uses its echolocation or sonar in order to locate Weavile when it uses Double Team. Unfortunately, Noivern still loses. This loss, however, triggers an avengeful moment within Hawlucha, because Hawlucha goes in to avenge Noivern's loss, and he does so in a really cool way. He fights off against Weavile and performs very beautifully in the fight, even when the terrain got changed to an ice field thanks to Weavile using Ice Beam. I'm not exactly sure what Hawlucha did in order to power up in order to defeat Weavile, because it did get stronger in the middle of the fight and it heated up. I don't know what exactly happened. Maybe his blood was pumping or a rush, but they never say it's a move. So all of you in the commenters section that's saying, oh, he used bulk up, or he used some move or something. No, it's not rage. It's not bulk up. We don't know what it is. He just got stronger. Either way, Hawlucha ends up winning, and Elan ends up using Bisharp. And I gotta say, there's a lot of dark Pokemon being used in this battle. But regardless, he ends up using Bisharp, and Bisharp comes out and fights off against Hawlucha, and the two clash really well. However, Bisharp uses Thunder Wave to paralyze Hawlucha, and then ends things off with a Guillotine attack, which is really cool. And that ends the fight right there. Then Elan returns Bisharp, and Ash ends up using Talonflame, and Elan ends up using Unfezant. And to which I gotta say, this is the most visually spectacled, awesome, phenomenal fight I've ever seen in my life. When two flying type Pokemon in X and Y fight, it always looks cool because the aerial battles for some reason are just really cool in X and Y, because just the animation goes up to a really high degree, hence the Moltres fight. But this visually was just really great. You got to see Talonflame and Unfezant clash and whip around the air using moves like Air Slash or Air Cutter, and then using Flame Charge and Brave Bird and Sky Attack, which I really love the Japanese name, which is God Bird. Although, yeah, Sky Attack takes one turn in order to power up for, but we'll go ahead and excuse it because obviously it's not a video game, it's the real deal. But then that leads to the question, is Sky Attack overpowered because of it? You can debatably say it's probably slower, but Unfezant's just a fast Pokemon. Anyway, it ends in a double knockout, which I thought that was the best way to end that fight in particular because both birds did a really good job. The next fight is Pikachu versus Metagross. Again, a really great, spectacularly done fight and shows exactly how powerful Pikachu can be when he's at his prime. Pikachu ends up beating Metagross, even though Metagross put up one hell of a fight. And I gotta say, this is the fastest Metagross we've ever seen, mostly because Alon told Metagross to use agility. So it was really cool to just see a Metagross ripping through the ground like that at such great speed. Pikachu wins that fight, and then Alon uses Charizard. And when Pikachu ends up fighting Charizard, it ends on that cliffhanger and continues on to the next fight. Obviously, Charizard takes out Pikachu in episode 38, in the beginning of episode 38. And then things get pumped up even further when Alon returns Charizard and brings Bishar back out. At that point, Ash ends up using Goodra, to which Goodra did take a really heavy loss here. However, the loss wasn't in vain. Goodra took a really hard guillotine attack straight to the neck, and he went down. However, he was able to get off the Rain Dance attack, which is just what Greninja needed, because when Greninja came out, Greninja was able to effectively use a really powerful Water Shuriken that got powered up thanks to the Rain Dance that was out on the field already, giving Greninja more or less the advantage. Obviously, both trainers only have one Pokemon left, Charizard and Greninja. Alon brings out Charizard, and it fights well against Greninja during their, I guess you can call it their base forms, because Charizard's at normal, and Greninja hasn't turned into Ash Greninja yet, and the two are fighting in the rain, and it looks really cool, because they go so fast that even the rain slows down a bit. It just looks really cool. After that, they decide to stop playing around, and Alon ends up mega evolving Charizard, and Ash ends up turning Greninja into Ash Greninja, and the fight heats up, and visually it is the best spectacled fight in the almost in the entire series. Debatably, yes, the entire series, because just visually, both Charizard and Greninja are fighting, just looking really fluid. The camera's panning all around them. It looks like a really great spectacled fight. It shows that both Pokemon are not letting up for a second. It is really well done. There's some really good moves done in there too, like Greninja uses Water Shuriken not only to block the first Blast Burn, but also to use Water Shuriken in order to block off the Thunder Punch attacks, which again looks really cool. I mean, I could argue that it's made out of water and the Thunder Punch is electricity, so the electricity should be conducting and hitting Greninja anyway, but whatever. It looks really cool. It looks cool. Finally, it all comes down to one last attack. Charizard ends up using Blast Burn, and Ash Greninja uses a giant Water Shuriken that's red for some reason to show off full power. And they both launch him at the exact same time, and they clash. Huge explosion happens, and it's the moment that everybody in Pokemon fandom has been waiting for. Who's gonna fall first? Charizard tricks us with a kneeling down, but it's Greninja that ends up falling down and transforming back into normal, thus getting knocked out, and thus the match is over, and Alon takes the victory, and Ash is runner-up in the Pokemon League. When this all takes place, Lysandre finally decides to work off his plan. And when he does his plan, things get into place. He takes Bloonie-chan, or Blue Pony-chan, and it forces him to absorb cells, which cause him to transform into his next form and causes the destruction of all of Lumio City. And at that point, the episode ends on a Team Flare cliffhanger. So, that's both episodes in a nutshell, and I gotta say, the battle is really well done. And there's no way you can not admit that this is a great battle. It is the finals, obviously, so I wouldn't expect anything less. And It shows it. This is definitely a really great league match. We got to see all Pokemon fight to their fullest. My only gripe with the battle, other than the biggest gripe, obviously, is Goodra and his treatment towards it, especially since they showed a lot of the wetland Pokemon watching Goodra during his fight with Bisharp. So it was a shame that Goodra ended up not only not getting a win, or a double KO for that matter, Goodra just flat out loses. Like, he flat out loses the fight. He doesn't get any wins off. The only thing that was probably Goodra's saving grace was the fact that he was able to bust out the rain dance to get Greninja in order to put up a fight against Bisharp with one hit and knockout. But then that begs the question, well then how come, what was the point of that? You could have just made Goodra win, because it's clear that Greninja lost against Charizard anyway, so there was no real point in that. I guess they just wanted to give Greninja one win before it gets knocked out by Charizard or something. I don't know. But you can't ignore that this battle visually looks really pleasing. Both of the main characters put up a really good fight. This is a fight we expect to see from both Ash and Alon, two main characters from the Mega Evolution specials and the XY&Z series respectively. Now, the other big gripe, and this one's obviously the one that's going to take up the most time, Ash losing. Well, I'm not happy, obviously. I feel that if he had come in 4th place and lost, I would be less upset, only because he's been in 4th place before. But to put him this far up and then have him lose makes you a little eerie, considering what happened in Best Wishes, where he came in 4th in Sinnoh and unfortunately came in 8th in Unova. So it's like, they can tease us with this going on forever and ever. I touch on a little bit of this in my video I did with Tasso Official and his gang. So I will put a link up for that video in the description of this video. Go check it out. It's about an hour and a half. I want to say an hour and a half long, so grab a snack and enjoy that, because a lot of my thoughts are on there too. And I will be doing a follow-up video to this review later on, but I wanted to go ahead and do the review of these 2 episodes now so I can get them out the way. I'm not happy with Ash losing. That's obvious. That goes without saying. That doesn't need to be pushed on anymore. Ash losing is disappointing to me only because of the way he's been treated throughout the series this entire time, and the battle itself between Greninja and Charizard shows that Greninja didn't really receive enough damage to put it on a loss. It feels like his loss was more or less forced, just so that Ash could lose. Because honestly, I have no real quarrels with Ash winning and then moving on to Alola just to discover a new region. It's just like when someone who's famous wins a sport and moves on to a different country to keep playing said sport. They're famous and known in that country, but they're not going to be known in the other country. And even if they are, they'll only be known by a few and not by many. Still not. It's like winning regionals in your area, but when it comes down to a nationwide tournament, you're still, one of the few. And if anything, it could push Ash to newer heights. It doesn't mean that you have to end the series with Ash right there. But regardless, he did put up a good fight. I won't, ignore that. I am still disappointed because this is a character I've grown up with, and this has gone on really long. So to see him lose was just disappointing. So, I will make a follow-up video. The next video we'll be doing a review of is Team Flare Attacks, the Zygarde at Prism Tower. So, with that said, the Team Flare arc is next, so I will try not to beat myself up too much because, there's still plot to go. See you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3